Hey YouTube, Dread Joker here, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of the coolest things to come out of Bandai recently. This is the G-Frame Sazabi. This is a bit of a weird kit. This is actually somewhere in between a kit. I can't really call it a kit. It's part action figure, part model kit. The entirety of this build is based around the advanced frame that comes with this. There are two frames currently on the market, one of which is basically it's just to display this as a statue. There's no easy way to put it, it's just for a statue. The advanced frame, that if you got this from like your local bookstore, like Barnes & Noble, or if you got it directly from Bluefin, it only comes with the advanced frame. This, in my opinion, was a very good idea to save on cost. Otherwise, you'd be looking at probably a $20, $25 figure, and that's if you don't have like a discount anywhere where you're buying this. My brother and I, we were able to pick up a couple of these for about $15, $16 each at our local Barnes & Noble. The Sazabi, however, is apparently, for Wave 1, like the rare kit. These are boxed entirely randomly, so they only get a box of 5 in at a time. So what this means is they could end up opening a box and having an entire box of unicorns. Or they could get a box of Sazabi. It's entirely how the machine packaged them. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, but the build itself is very simplistic. It's very refined, and let me just zoom out here so we can get a good view of this thing. Also, all of the black lining on here is not here by default. So that is all me going over it with what I use for a panel liner, which is GM301, the inking pen. That is a double-edged sword, but in this case, it saved me some major headaches. So starting off, it does have very good articulation. The shield is removable, and I believe this is a 3mm peg, so it might work with other stuff. It has a shield adapter segment back here. Once again, more black lining in here. That was just me. I felt like I needed some stuff in there for the thrusters. The shield connector is held on by these 3 pegs. However, I believe only the central one actually holds it on. It goes on either arm and either of these slots here. The backpack is very well articulated for it being, a backpack. The fuel tanks can move, the funnel racks can move and rotate on a ball joint. The backpack itself, it says it's removable and swappable. However, I would not try this. This backpack is pretty much the only thing holding the cables on. They tab in up here behind the armor and then connect all the way around into the back. This is easier said than done. The figure itself is very, very good. So for movement, the head, goes a little bit up, a little bit down. I mean, it's the Sazabi. It's not exactly glancing at the stars or anything like that, so head, a little bit left, a little bit right. It can do a 360 if you force it, but yeah, it was pretty hard getting it on there in the first place. So let's not force it. The shield, very, very nicely detailed. Now, for those of you who are familiar with building Gunpla and stuff like that, this is, it's somewhere between the stuff they use for the Gunpla plastic and the stuff that they use on the bigger figures, like the stuff from Super Sentai. Which means it's high quality, but at the same time, does have some pretty bad defects, as we will be showing Aaron in a little bit. The body is very nicely detailed as well. This was all just mold lines, not mold lines, panel lines that I just filled in here. It has nice indents everywhere. This has not been painted other than panel lining, so if there's any lines that seem out of place, I'm going to point those out because those are microfractures. The panel lining ink revealed them, and this is why I say these are a bit of a double-edged sword. The articulation, you got a double joint in there. I don't know how well it's showing up, but let's get a little zoom on in here so we can actually show what's going on here. Got the hip rocking back and forth because it's on a ball joint up in here and then one up in here. Again, like I said, bit of a double-edged sword. Once it's together, it's fine. Getting it together is a bit of a challenge. Front skirts, individually molded and on ball joints. Again, once again, all the black lining is me. Knees, for a Sazabi. This has the greatest knees I have ever seen. Because it can bend either at the top here for an okay knee bend for a Sazabi. That's about what the high grade could do. Let's zoom back out so we can get a little bit more of the leg and frame. Bring it up forward, straighten the leg out back a little bit, bend at the lower joint. It can go that far, bring it up even higher, bring the side skirting out to see a little bit better. And this knee can go places. It doesn't bend very much up the upper joint so much as it does the lower joint because these legs have basically nothing stopping them from moving back here. All of them so far are like this. And as you can see, this is what I was trying to point out. If it wasn't for lining these sections where the thrusters would be, I would not have found out how brittle the plastic is in some areas. Every black line here is a horrible microfracture. So to remedy this, and because I don't want to repair this thing every 20 minutes, I took some glue that had a brush, and I just went ham all over this thing. I just started painting like there was no tomorrow. I was like Picasso with a glue gun. But don't let that discourage you. The articulation here is second to only the real grade right now. Ankles, very, very good ankles. Can get all the way out to the side here. Let's get the camera turned down so we can see the articulation a little bit better. Got very good ankles. Ball jointed hips, so if you're not a fan of ball joints anywhere, this may not be for you. If you like your figures to be something you can pick up and just have a nice ball with, this is definitely something worth considering. Hands and accessories. Unfortunately, the only accessories you get with this are the holding hands, one for each side, so it's not like there's a dedicated trigger finger hand or anything you want. If you want Sazabi to be a lefty, go for it. You can also wield the shield. You can wield everything on one arm if you want to. Does it compromise balance? Oh, you better believe it. But it does it fantastically. The only other hands you get are a set of widespread expressive hands, which I have misplaced at the moment. But the beam rifle is very detailed for the size it is. I'm actually very impressed. Just a nice couple slabs of plastic. It doesn't want to go into the hand, so when you're putting the hands together like this, it does feel like you might not get the weapons back out. Just slide it around a little bit. You might need a tool to help you with this, but it does want to let go after a while. It's just a little tight at the start, as is a lot of things. The shoulder binders, or whatever you want to call these things, the little engines on the shoulders, they can move up and down. The shoulders themselves, very good. Unlike the Master Grade, if memory serves, or at least the old Master Grade, it can do this. Because there is an extra hinge in here, similar to the Master Grade Gym 2.0, and by that extension, the Gundam 2.0, and if you want to go that far, the 3.0 to some extent. However, this means you can get your Sazabi with some major bends out of the arms, just going up, and again, remember, this is the Sazabi. This thing is known for having ridiculously oversized shoulders and massive thighs. But it can get some nice articulation out of it. Elbow only bends at one joint, however, you get a lot more than 90. I'd put this pretty close to 110, 105. Somewhere in there. Then, side skirts, as you saw, can move out like this. Butt flap is locked. Nicely detailed, though. This is one of these things that, in the right hands, a painter could definitely bring out the full flavor of this. That being said, really good for the price. If you're just looking to pick something up just to put on your desk, have something to mess around with, very good. Also, it is compatible with an action base. Or if you have a Figma stand, same thing. But yeah, this is one of the best figures we have picked up recently. And frankly, I'm impressed with this line. I'm really hopeful that this line's going to get even better, and I'm really hopeful that Barnes & Noble decides to continue getting these. Why they wouldn't is beyond me, but this is all based on Bluefin, and, well, frankly, Bluefin does not like making some decent decisions from time to time. That being said, they've been known to make some pretty good ones. Let's get a nice zoom in here on the rifle. It does have nice molded detail, although getting it painted would probably be a headache. When it comes to the potential of this line, it's looking really, really good. Overall, for a line that my brother and I, we were taking a big chance on this because we've had some figures that we've taken a big chance on and we've been regretting getting them. This is honestly one of the best things we've picked up recently. If I had to give this a grade, and it's not fair to compare these to your traditional Gundam kits or Full Metal Panic kits or anything made by Bandai in the last, like, 5 years in terms of kits. For an experimental series, this is probably one of the best product lines you can invest in right now. That being said, it's going to get expensive really quickly. I've looked over on Big Bad Toy Store, and they have 3-packs, or each line has, according to Big Bad Toy Store, there's 3 figures per series, 10 figures per box. But in this case, you get frame A, which is the armor, a weapon, and the armor, and the base frame. Frame B is more weapons and the advanced frame set, as you see here. So keep that in mind when you're spending $100 on 5 figures. Still, a very good line. Give it a nice spin. And it's gonna be quite fun. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them in the area down below, and I will get back to you when you can. Thank you very much for watching.